Boom and wowza, welcome to Theme Park Wizard. It's the late night live stream double show because guess what? This was kind of unplanned, but now it's planned and now we're ready. We have special guest, the Doctor, the Vash, the Sky, Dr. Dre. Hey,
Hello.
thanks for
Hello.
joining us.
Well, I do appreciate you sending out the invite and taking me up on it. So, this is kind of fun. I did not anticipate doing a show, I must confess, but the prospect was like, this isn't a very interesting topic. So, thank you for having me on. If you guys want to follow me, you can go ahead and do so right down there at Vash Sky. Just go ahead and type it in. It should pop up. For all the, as Christine Waystons McCarthy would say, for all the robust discussion right there. And if you want to see me, well, it's going to be on Orange Grove 55, where Theme Park Wizard, we have you on occasionally as a guest ourselves. So please go ahead after you're done liking, sharing, and subscribing to this video. Watching it, of course, go ahead and subscribe over there. That would be awesome. And because, well, we're on Wizard's channel, I need to have some intro drop. Here we go. And this is all about Universal now, isn't it?
It sure is. And hello, Ants and Jojo Boy. Um, but quickly, before we get into these Universal interesting day, definitely subscribe to OG55 because they just got a brand new guest, a permanent host. Good old Jay with his Story Geek. So check him out and his actual channel because that's exciting. It was just announced today. So subscribe so you don't miss any of their group content there. And congrats on the new team member, by the way.
Oh yes. We are so excited about it to have somebody who is story driven, story minded, adding his perspective on all things entertainment. I think is going to be fantastic for the channel. So, Wizard, I do appreciate that shout out. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, I mean I can't wait to watch. And today, wow, there's 9 people. That's pretty good. Like how they're all interested. Oh, hello, 9 people. So today, of course, was whatchamacallit, yeah, January 5th. And yeah, today was the big reservation day for Super Nintendo World. And boy, I was a little nervous because, the last reservation thing was for Taste of Universal back when the parks were closed. And that didn't go too well. So I was like, oh boy, I hope this goes a little better eventually. And then I figured a crashing would happen, but I didn't. I figured it would be a fixed crashing, but it wasn't. Um, Question: it's not a video game. It's a theme park land, or I guess you can connect it to your Nintendo Switch. But I'll tell you now. But so you're supposed to all the past members, right? You're supposed to go ahead and go on to past member info right over here. What? What? Okay, there you go. Here, and then you get this little lovely screen. It says what's hot, and then this is what was here yesterday. It says, oh, actually, it said this, and it said reservations open here, as in where this would be, at 1:30 p.m. today. And then, so I was there at 1 p.m. And then, see, apparently this message popped up a few minutes before, like at 1:20, but I never got this message. I got the one saying there could be slow demand or high demand, so it could be slow. And I kept refreshing, and I never got this message till actually just now. But then, obviously, people got this temporary network outage message before the 1:30 thing even popped up because there's a lot of people on the site, I guess. And yeah, so then there was never a reservation system to open up to overwhelming demand. Now, see, I heard, or I guess I saw something on Twitter. Hello, girl power. That which about that the storm caused an outage, and it could be, but I don't particularly buy it because only like I said, there's precedent for this back a taste of Universal um where there was also very difficult to get a ticket or reservation for. Um,
Really?
because I remember actually being the refreshing and being in line for like a bit, and it worked. It was eventually resolved, and then there was actually a problem with my annual pass in a different version, which sucked. But it was a they had internet problems before, and now of course people will be like, Disney has internet problems, but at least Disney has the virtual. Mention that they did have a problem, but at least they have the put you in the virtual queue. I think hopefully when Universal rejiggers this for next week, they should put you in a virtual queue system and let a few people in at a time, like Disney has done with their past few things. Because I think while you might be waiting more than an hour, it still works. And then it's still kind of a lottery thing, I guess. But I don't know. There seems to be quite overwhelming demand for the land, which saw another tweet where they said, "Oh, it's from E-Ticket Insight," and he said, "I hope Universal isn't underestimating the Eastern land." And I agree. I hope they aren't. I hope they saw today that there's a lot of people that want to come here. So I hope they're ready. I hope they're ready. I don't know. I don't know. I'm nervous for the massive crowds. What do you think? What do you think? And also, I see. I mean, I guess I saw people were upset on Twitter, but to bring up kind of OG's point, I'll pretend he's right here. So I also invited him on because I know he'd love to talk about it.
Oh yes.
People are gonna rag on Disney for their
Oh
internet
yes.
problems, and Universal has their internet problems. And yes, people are upset, but I still feel like it wasn't as bad of a hate as Disney's internet problems, even though it was canceled and pushed back. What do you think there?
I'm surprised OG didn't come on just to just to
I,
join in the festivities of bashing Universal for a change. He usually loves that, but I guess I will have to stand in for him. Look, as a person who is a fan of both these companies,
Mhm.
obviously you want to see both of them do well, and you want to you want to kind of know that they're taking all these matters seriously and providing it as much infrastructure as they'll require, maybe more, to handle demand when it comes in, whether it be demand for theme park land, a demand for a ride, demand for the park itself, or demand for an event like this where people had to schedule out their annual pass holder previews. This is it's not as encouraging as I think a lot of people intended it to be for today. I know a lot of people who were just, I mean, they were glued to their screens, whether it be
Oh, I
phone,
was.
a desktop, and so forth, right?
I,
Oh,
I was glued to two screens: my work desk, laptop, and my phone.
and
I
I'm
even
sure
gave
your
my
work
pass.
appreciated it.
I gave my and I was like, I even tweeted, I was like, I hope my boss doesn't come and tell me to do something because I'm like, I can't leave the screen. But I
Yeah,
even gave my pass member number ID to three people because that still wasn't clear that if you can do multiple passes at once or just yourself. I heard both things, so I'm like, just in case, I had my best friend's pass number, and I gave her my pass number. I gave Sean my pass number. I'm like, look, if you can't get in, and I can, yeah, you can get in, then get one for me because I
cool.
figured I had to leave at 3:30. I was like, man, as soon as I leave, it's gonna work, and I feared it. Luckily, that didn't. But yeah, multiple people glued to the screen, and probably
No, I know.
multiple people sharing their pass numbers too.
I think you might be correct. I know Ryan Theme Park on Twitter was watching it. I know I think Sammy Land was watching it. He actually took off work for it. Whoops.
Yeah, I know.
So, Mouse Info, I heard they were watching it very very closely. I do like this tweet right here from Fresh Baked. If you can share my screen just real fast.
Oh
Um,
yes. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Boom. Oh yeah. That was
this one
funny.
was this one was pretty great. Yeah, right here. Feels like Universal may be taking their competition with Disney a little too seriously. We only have room for one inept IT department in the theme park world. And honestly, that it does go to that, right? I mean, listen, I understand you're a theme park operation. I understand that IT infrastructure, I mean, you could spend an ungodly amount on it. But at this point, where we have so many digital services being used and utilized, not just for these kind of events, but also during your day, especially Disney with their app and so forth. I think Scott Guston was the one that tweeted out saying, "Okay,
Mhm.
I'm officially begging for these theme park companies to have appropriate infrastructure for their setups." And honestly, I do agree.
Yeah, and you think, you come on, it's 2023, right? You have all these fancy apps, but especially, but Nintendo World, I saw something, man, I can't believe you bought something that you had 5 years to prepare for, and they did. I mean, it's not like they just made an event. It wasn't like Taste of Universe where like you're closed and you have to figure out something different. You know,
Correct.
this is you're building a theme park land. Even if you didn't know how it was gonna work when you broke ground, you know, at least a year out, you kind of realize, all right, let's see, there's low lots, kind of small. Probably should require some reservations. If interest is high, so you kind of figure it out at least a year out. So how are we gonna do it? You can even, speaking of Disney, look to Disney. Okay, Disney putting people in a virtual queue. Let's
Sure.
do something similar.
And I wonder
And
if that was the intention, but
mhm,
maybe the on the server side switching requests to a virtual queue, maybe that got undone. I know they usually will what is it call for the services from like a third party in order to deal with that kind of switch to a virtual queue and then onto their servers and so forth. This kind of stuff does take place, and look at an overwhelming number of requests. I mean, I just talk to people like, I don't know, Ticketmaster. I mean, this
yeah,
does happen, right? It does happen where stuff breaks and what is it? What is it? We call it in the business servers tipping, right? That's when
hmm
they run out of excess memory and so forth to actually handle requests, and like this stuff happens. And I'm sorry, but I've seen this one too many times, not just from Universal, but also Disney, where every single time they have a digital event, every single time where you got to get online and do something, there are always problems. It's guaranteed. I remember very vividly trying to get what is it, Oogie Boogie Bash tickets this last time, and I think it was in the middle of summer, and I was coordinated with our buddy George in order to get those. He was in a Universal Park, I believe he was in Universal Studios Florida at the time that we were both trying to get tickets, and man, it was a mess. So you know, we got to do something about this. This is intolerable. We are now relying on the digital services for for basic operations, right? For the debut of these new lands and so forth. Come on, Disney Universal, let's go. I mean, do we get the crowd fund? Oh, what do we got to do?
Yeah, you'd think that I'd pay like they have millions of dollars. They should have like the best services out there. They're the best queuing thing. They can even, I don't know if I'd say they can make their own, but no, they should go through whatever third party thing is best. But you know, team up with Google. Google can figure out for you. I'm sure Google can find a nice virtual queuing thing they can do for you. They're right in Playa Vista. It's very close.
Well, I know Amazon's going through some struggles right now. There are predictions that Jeff Bezos might actually take back the CEO seat because of how not well Amazon is actually doing right now. Apparently, they lost $840 billion in market cap
Yeah.
in 2022. Not very good as well. But look, they have Amazon Web Services. Come on, let's get some real infrastructure in here. We need to facilitate this a whole lot better. And it's so weird because you would think. I mean, I remember the days of when Disneyland had a million annual pass holders. Apparently, that's no longer the case now. But if the million is the big number, surely for Universal's annual pass holder size, you can have appropriate IT infrastructure to handle what, maybe 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 people. I mean, it's not. I mean, yes, it's a substantial load all at once, but we do have services that can now contend with this level of demand, and for not that much money. You simply buy out the required infrastructure through a service like
Mhm.
AWS or something at the time, right? You just rent it all out. So the fact that this still occurs, and now we're in 2023. It is it is just it's ineptitude. Honestly, it's ineptitude. Now, to update the story just a little bit, if you want to share my screen real fast, I believe this is the latest message from Universal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so tomorrow they're gonna tell us some updated information, and then all reservations will begin early next week. Now, that wording, when I saw that, all reservations will begin, and I instantly thought of maybe, multiple days or something. It's just all reserv. That wording seems like, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be reservation days. Like, you know, did you get that impression, or did you just think it's all at once, or just early next week?
It's weird how this is worded. I know a lot of people were kind of going back and forth on this. Like, okay, we're gonna get. I mean, is Friday, January 6th at noon the drop point? Is it just updating information? Do we, it sounds like to me, Friday, January 6th at noon, they might actually announce the actual drop point, like when
Mhm.
that is going to
Yeah.
be. Um, Early next week, like the official times and so forth. So I think that's where they're going with that. But um, it's weird. Even the informational portal language right here isn't done the best. So
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I mean, just in case you might want to be around your available screens at Friday, January 6th at noon PT, just in case. But it looks like they're going to have a new drop here, which is the right thing to do. I know initially they were like, well, the drop didn't happen when we said it was going to happen, so just keep watch, guys. And now you have all these people waiting, and to me, that's also bad because now you have people, refreshing, making requests, and so forth
Mhm.
on your
And
website when
that's
you could have
another
simply put
thing.
out. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that's the other thing. They said that, like, the refreshing, but then we're refreshing for like 4 hours before this
Right.
came out, and that's a
Ex-
long time.
well, yeah. So why keep everybody waiting? Why not just say right from
Hmm.
jump, hey, we're having some technical issues right now. We can't actually facilitate um, these requests at this very moment, and we want to have everybody. We want to have a fair system for everybody. So rather than trying to continue this charade, right? Let's just schedule a new date, time, and place. Then they did not. It seemed like I don't know. They were trying to get all the ducks in a row. They were trying to scramble. I don't know what was going on, but I mean, it wasn't just the initial screw up. It was the subsequent screw ups down the line that really made them quite inept. And honestly, I have to go ahead and I have to echo Ryan Theme Park here. Embarrassing. Makes Design IT look like world class. And I
Hmm.
honestly, I think that's accurate. How you can have people waiting around for more info or thinking that a drop will be coming. Not the greatest look by Universal in this case. I
Yeah,
must be I must be frank.
that one, yeah, wasn't yeah, that was, man. I want now. I'm curious. What do you think is the reason? Now, obviously, there's a lot of people going, it's crashing, but
Yeah.
do you think then maybe they did underestimate how much interest or how many people at least want to go to the pass holder preview event? They're like, oh my gosh, wait a second, we didn't think hundreds of thousands of people were going to sign up for this thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, clearly they underestimated the sheer demand, and it's kind of strange because you obviously have the amount of active pass holders as a number in advance. I mean
Like a
that
baseline.
like a baseline, right? And you just go, okay, well, I guess in this case it was like, well, okay, if 30% or 40% of this number actually signs up for these services, then we'll reserve enough IT infrastructure for the moment for that case. I think it was much higher than maybe those preliminary percentages that they gave suggested. And honestly, it's like with all these different things, it's like, okay, how many do we have? Well, let's get enough infrastructure allocated so that we have like maybe 120% of this number, just in case you have everybody who actually wants to see this at once, and enough for people who may not understand or not know that this is annual password limited, right? And that way, you can facilitate all those requests, in orderly fashion. I just think they underestimate demand. Very surprising, on both levels. Surprising that they would underestimate it, but also surprising from a guest standpoint that there is this demand that actually has Universal's IT infrastructure turning on its head.
Yeah, and it's funny because you think again, still surprising because they sent out those mailers to everybody. Those very colorful mailers. I got mine last week and said password preview scan here and da da. So I don't. It's so interesting. You would have thought that maybe they would have prepared better. And so good comment here from Silver Shutter. The website shot itself for any reservations that have been made. Which is true. Those error messages popped up at 125.
It did, yeah. Which that should have been okay. We got to reschedule. Like if we can't do anything before this even goes live, we are in trouble. Okay, that's that's at that time you should reassess for sure. Look, I only speak about this because I'm in this world. This is actually my job.
Oh, yeah, he works in IT, guys.
I work in IT. Yes,
if you watch OG Pick 5, he has all the cool soundboards and the techie thing. That's because he knows all that stuff.
I do. Network administrator for a long time here. So it's just very strange how and look, I've been in the room with companies and corporations and so forth where it's like I think we're going to need a little bit more IT infrastructure for your project, your website, whatever. You might want to do this and this, and it's like, well, we don't think we'll need that. You got budget cuts and so forth. Everybody's looking to get everything at the cheapest price and whatever. Sometimes you have instances like this where it's like, hey, we think we can do this cheap, and no, you can't. and I think that's what happened. But I go with Scott Gustin on this. Hey, look, listen, you can't simply outsource your IT infrastructure to, I don't know. I don't want to call any countries out, but look, there obviously there's a movement to. Let's say, how do I put this? Reduce costs, right? Reduce overhead, reduce the amount of infrastructure that we need to pay for constantly, right? And if you're going to be moving in the direction where these digital services aren't just a temporary thing, they're actually going to be part of our daily lives, maybe our daily interactions with the park itself. We really need to invest here. This is getting embarrassing. This is getting frustrating for guests. And this is why you're hearing from a lot of guests who are like, I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to rely on these applications and so forth. I don't want to rely on these digital services to actually have a good day at these parks in general, because things crash, things die, things, get messed up in the system. And trust me, if you're one of those, I don't know, if you're one of those team members or cast members, those guest relations cast members in particular, I can tell you right now, dealing with a severe crash when you have an app that people use to interact with services throughout the park, that can be particularly frustrating for a guest, and it really is a bad day for both parties involved. Like, let's invest here. This is ridiculous. The fact that. And you can, if anybody's interested in this story here, Defunctland has a wonderful video outlining the history of FastPass and where Disney's first foray into these digital services actually originated from. And even at that time, they were looking for the cheapest product possible. And when they had to rely on that, that came with issues. And unfortunately, Disney and Universal, it looks like here, has kind of carried on that tradition in the worst way possible. So definitely got to update your stuff here.
Yeah, you can't take the JPEG way out here with the cheap. Yeah, you gotta go ahead, um, and spend. This is really one of you just spend the extra money once. It's likely that it'll be cheaper in the long run, like buying a solar panel or something. You spend a lot of money
Hmm.
once, but then your power or electric bill is much cheaper in the long run.
Yeah.
Hopefully, especially Disney, because I know Disney leans more into it, the virtual queues and the mobile.
Hmm.
Hopefully, they all come together, and again, uh, it's not embarrassing if you partner with Amazon or some third party. It's okay if
Yeah.
you can't do it yourself. No one will shame you. Like,
Yeah.
don't
And,
take pride in it.
And from those third parties, you could rent out the required infrastructure for the time being. You can get yourself some server time that can dedicate data centers and so forth to your digital services in order to prevent stuff like this from happening. But you can do it for like the hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours. That way, when the drop's actually made, you have the infrastructure required at various sites in order to handle all this demand. So, again, these are relatively simplistic problems to figure out here in 2023. I'm telling you right now, the tech exists, but very, very sad. Yeah, Ram, I
But
thought they were using Yahoo services. Yeah, they probably are doing a third party. What
at
my
this point,
sneaking suspicion is.
they're probably using AOL.
Yeah. And my sneaking suspicion is that they're not utilizing those services to the degree that they could be. They're not actually spending the money to rent out the infrastructure that they feel that will ultimately be necessary. Chipping out on that. That's my personal theory. Sapphire Jones, I have a question. Well, go ahead, put it in the
What's the
chat.
question, Sapphire?
Let's
Put it in
go.
the chat, and we got it. And
But it was a
hopefully,
hard day. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Good.
and say question for you.
Yes.
Now that you see Universal sees all this demand or
Right.
whatever, access demand, I said, or me and a few other people obviously have said that may they really should have when they're designing land taken out the that Panda Express area and incorporated that into more space for land to make it a little bit bigger. You
Mm.
know,
Hmm.
because I feel like I'm telling you, February 17th, I'll be there after work just to see what it looks like. As I told you, there might be a line all the way to the front entrance. They might have to
Oh,
like block the escalators, like do the Disney parade guest control with the escalators so people won't like trip and fall over each other. If those many pass holders are coming, trying to go on, the preview. Imagine what the first day will be like with tourists or people who are local but just don't have, or the first weekend that's a holiday weekend. It might be absolute insanity. Insanity.
yeah, yeah. They might have a contractual obligation with Panda Express in order to, in order to keep that restaurant in place, right? That's, I mean, maybe Panda wants to be available for when this new attraction that's going to be opening right next to them to open, and that's why they're still there, and that's why it's like, okay, well, it'll be really bad for the first few weeks, let's say, but we will be there to handle all of the uh, Americanized Chinese food requirements that your guests will need, and we want to be there for that. So that might have been why. Uh, Sometimes these things are contractual. Sometimes there are obligations and so forth. Sometimes I can see Universal saying, "Oh, hey, we're gonna have this new attraction right next to you. You gotta pay up a little bit more in order to stay there." Maybe they did, and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So these things go back and forth for sure. Yeah, Brad and Munoz, or Munoz. I wonder if Super Nintendo World is completely done. Why they just randomly open the land and do soft openings like they did with Jurassic World? They might. I think they just wanted to schedule out annual pass
Mhm.
holders specifically in order to kind of control demand a little bit. But they might end up doing that after these annual pass holder previews are have concluded
And
here.
for Mr. Brandon, definitely watch, keep watch, hang around. You never know what might happen next week, the week after, next week on a non-rainy day. You never
Mm,
know. Watch,
that's
Mr.
it.
Brandon.
That's a hint there, Ben. That's a hint there. Heed the man's advice. Trust me. I have been for quite some time. Never been led astray to be honest with you. While it's technically
But
called a
yes, it
rehearsal.
is a technical rehearsal, so they could close any soft opening, even on the pass holder preview. It does say the technical
Okay.
rehearsal, so it close at any time. So
Yes.
please
Yeah.
don't be mad if it closes, because that's the soft opening. For those of you who don't know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the testing process. I mean, for people in the chat here, now the testing process, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dre,
You're
but
good.
you start with the test. You have to do a certain amount of tests.
Yep.
I think California law requires like 1,000 cycles per vehicle or on for each vehicle or something like that, right?
It.
And then you have
I
to
think
test
it's
them with
this.
water jugs and
Yeah.
different weights. And then you eventually, the last phase of the testing process is with people because you have to see how it operates in real life. That's where the soft open comes, the technical rehearsal, because it's still the final testing phase, which is
Sure.
why
Yeah.
they can close it, and why also while it may not work if they have a technical rehearsal, Mario Kart may break down a lot. Well, that's because it's still testing, right? It's the first time they're actually doing this process with people and not just
Right.
testing empty on a thing. This is the first time real world situations people take longer to get off or on than usual and
And
different things.
that testing process is actually I'm sure you know this, Wizard, but for the chat and everybody watching, that testing process is key not only to test out the actual infrastructure of the attraction itself, but also to figure out operations, right? And to figure out operational
Yeah.
habits and so forth, and kind of get everybody up to snuff, get everybody trained, utilizing those test audiences, and that's why the soft opening time period, whether it be annual pass holders, whether it be actual guests, whether it be cast members and so forth, that is crucial information to actually learn for the smooth, to have a smooth operation when you actually officially open. So it is absolutely key. But yeah, I mean they could close up things and early and so forth. And I mean, they got to handle. They got to put up more tarps, Wizard. Sometimes, it's just that happens.
The tarps, it gets too sunny in there. You just
Got
gotta
to put them
put
up.
those tarps. And that they might close the corner just for that. What should we call it? What do I think is why is my there you go. Oh, it went away. Junior, welcome. I don't recognize you, so welcome. What is next for Universal Studios now that Grinchmas is over? I want to come on Grinchmas. So on Halloween Horror Nights, the day after, there's the Halloween Horror. Everything was 90%, and I was a little disappointed that the Grinchmas stuff wasn't discounted. But it's okay because people are still buying it, so I guess it didn't need to be 90% off. But dang it, I was looking forward to that.
Hmm.
Um, Apart from this,
So
will they be doing a Lunar New Year? They did last year. Now the Plaza's rumored to be going on a 3-month refurb. That's where the main new Lunar New Year stuff is. So maybe it'll be a small one again, like in that restaurant. But they did one last year, so I expect the one that they do one this year. Um,
yeah, I mean, Lunar New Year is what, January,
Especially because it's now
February.
it's an official California holiday. Please let me get that day off. It's
I did not know
January
that. Okay, well
20th.
that's interesting. But
Yeah, yeah, it
Lunar
was
New
part
Year,
of the new laws in January. Lunar New Year
right?
is
The
like
January laws. Oh,
which
that's
is January
interesting.
20th this year. So super
Um,
cool.
Lunar New Year. When is that this year?
I think it's like January
January
20.
22nd.
Yeah, something like that.
And then
What is it?
the opening of Super Nintendo World is when?
The February 17th.
Okay. they should have a Lunar New Year celebration. I think they,
Mhm.
like you said, Wizard, they did one last year. Very very popular at that time. They're going to need a little bit of demand drawn up for this period right before this opening process.
Mhm.
They honestly, Uh, Super Nintendo's opening might have been positioned in order to allow for a Lunar New Year celebration. So they should have one right there. It doesn't seem to be much overlap, but if they don't, well, you know why, because they're attempting to prepare for the opening of Super Nintendo World. Sapphire Jones has a question
Sapphire,
along with.
yes. How long the reservation be going on? I can't wait for it to open. Also, does have. Oh, okay. Um, the reservation. Well, that what will be probably going on for quite. So this is how it's gonna work. It's gonna be like the pets reservation, where you standby sometimes and then reservation sometimes. Um, so it'll be a reservation. It's gonna fill up probably in 3 seconds. So it'll probably be like that for the first several months, but then eventually it'll get to the point where it'll be like an hour before closing. You can walk right in, and then an hour before, just like Seagull Ever Pets, Sapphire Jones for Donkey Kong, according to the Wrap 2025. And I checked with that with a couple of sources, and they agreed it's 2025. One person said it'll be announced on Media Day. One person said it won't be announced on Media Day, but they both did say 2025. One person said on the sound stage's voices behind Super Nintendo World. One person said on the Mummy. So, but they both said 2025. So, and the rap says 2025. So that's three people saying 2025, which
and that
means we're to start construction this year.
and that okay, and that's 2025 for opening. You're saying.
Opening, yeah, because they want to open
Oh.
Epic Universe's Donkey Kong and Hollywood's Donkey Kong at the same time, which is good because then it won't make Hollywood's look so teeny.
Well, okay, so are we thinking with that timeline that this Fast and Furious not supercharged, but Fast and Furious Drift Coaster
Yeah,
might
that
open in
was
2024?
Yeah, that one was always a 2024 from what I
Right.
heard. Yeah,
So
which
they're
seems from the concept art, not a lot of theming, so that's kind of like a Six Flags but on a coaster at that point. Not there's just a lot of them just building. So 2024 is definitely likely summer. 2025 then Donkey Kong right there, which means something's whichever you'll know where it's going, people, when you see something's got to go down this year very
yes,
quickly by the
yeah,
summer.
yeah,
So if you see the sound stages, if you see the studio, if you see the sound stages going down by the voice, which the voice already looks like it's halfway torn down anyway. So I always think they should just tear it down. Or if you see the
sure.
mummy closing, whichever one, then you know that's where Donkey Kong is going. And then everyone can stop bashing everyone on Twitter when they say where they think it's going.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a whole thing for sure right there. But these theme parks like to have kind of a big thing every single year, right? They like to have an
Mhm.
annualized structure for their openings of their new attractions and so forth. This 2024, 2025 timeline, 2023 now with Super Nintendo World, that kind of makes sense. That kind of jives. Let's say it tracks, as the kids would say. Now, in terms of this reservation period. Look, I know that you're looking at Secret Life of Pets as kind of the let's say as your kind of bellwether there, and I do appreciate that, and I think that is going to be true for the ride, the Mario Kart attraction, but for the land itself, I don't know. I have some reservations with this because I remember when they tried a virtual queue type system. This was the first of one of the first of its kind back when Universal opened Wizarding World West all those years ago, and I was there. I was there on opening day for Wizarding World West,
And you
and
gotta
I
be there
remember.
this opening day.
We'll see, but I remember the long line of machines that were there. These kind of
Mhm.
kiosks that you would interact with, get a time back for when you can actually experience the land because of the overwhelming demand that they expected that day, and they had. I'm telling you, Wizard, I've never seen this before, but that kind of forecourt area that they
No.
have, right? That was all switchbacks as far as
Oh,
the eye can
wow.
see, and it. never filled up to the degree that they expected. And by about, I want to say 2, 3 o'clock that day, they had completely done away with their reservation system for the land going forward. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen here. I do think there's going to be enhanced demand because this is the first of its kind in the United States. But I don't know. For a land to have a reservation system for a long period of time, I don't know about that. For a ride, yes, absolutely. But I wouldn't be shocked if within 2 weeks' time they do away with the reservation system for the land itself.
That would be quite nice. Oh, I mean, actually, it doesn't matter for me because I have Express Pass. But that would be quite nice for everybody else. But yeah, that I've heard a couple things with the because I know on the forums that I follow, the
Sure.
Inside Universal forums, they they were talking about that how with all of them. So I guess before Harry opened, I guess Universal really jacked up their AP prices or something, and they said
Yes.
the that I feel like according to them, that's what they say that like killed a lot of the potential tenants this time, like for all, or not even for all of them. I think just my pass and I think another pass, all of them were like $20, but that was it. Went from 549 to 560. Maybe this time, since they didn't really increase the price on APs, there'll be
Hmm.
more demand for longer because more annual pass holders
Oh,
keep coming.
and that forum actually makes a great point. I remember it vividly at that time where they were starting to severely decrease actually, amenities as part of your as part of the AP system. They were definitely going into a, let's say, Disneyland 2021 direction where they were severely limiting certain perks that you would get with your APs. They were limiting the dates. They were jacking up rates quite a bit. I mean, these were huge percentage gains here. All because, and from Universal standpoint, you can kind of imagine why they would do that, right? This was not just
Mhm.
the culmination.
Especially
This was
after
the culmination.
they saw what happened on Islands of Adventure too, with all those people.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And this was also the culmination of like $1 billion investment from the company in
Hmm.
multiple areas. The Simpsons land that adjoins the Wizarding World West, right? They redid the entire entrance and so forth. So they were thinking, hey, this is going to be almost a brand new park. We're going to have one, insane demand, and we don't have that much capacity. So these are the steps that we deem appropriate. And I do agree that kind of did hurt that attendance for Wizarding World West. Kind of
Hmm.
similar to what happened to Disney, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge,
Yeah.
but that's a whole nother thing, right? That's a whole nother. That was a foreshadowing, Disney. You should have taken notes, but you make a good point with them only, adjusting, let's say, the annual pass holder system a little bit this time. Of course, there's going to be enhanced demand. I think that's why they have this, annual pass holder soft opening period, right? In order to deal with some of that demand first, so that they don't get overwhelmingly crushed by annual pass holders when the actual land opens. Well, now whatever demand you thought you were going to get, Universal. Hopefully, this is a wake up call for you because this incident today, it. This, you should readjust if you weren't expecting this, right? But no, you're right. I think there will be enhanced, but I can't see them having a reservation system for the land itself for more than a couple of weeks. I just can't see it. Honestly, though, I'll tell you
Great.
what. I'll tell you what. The opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and how they actually manage these soft opening uh, for that Disney did back in the summer of 2019 and so forth. That was actually handled quite well, I thought. Um, maybe too well, but that was handled. That was handled nicely. If they have a similar system here with their annual pass holders, I think they'll be okay. But again, we'll see. I don't think anybody expected that their servers would come online at all today.
I thought
So
it would be like maybe an hour or two, but and I expect that message before the link even popped up. I'm like, oh, well, I want to, I'm in it for the long run, and well, look at that.
yep,
We
yep.
got rewarded with a new date. And Michael
Like
over here, why is that closing animal show? Oh, well, there's supposed to be a Fast and Furious drifting coaster going there, Mr.
yes.
Michael. Which, hey, I'll be at the subscribe if you're not already, because I'll be there on. Monday, Tuesday, or whatever non-rainy day there is, and I will be seeing if they put up some construction walls teasing
Here
a
you
nice
go. You got
here.
a couple of.
Look, and look at that, boom, boom. There you go. There, that's what it looks like. And see that right there is about all the theming you're gonna get for the coaster. So it should be open in 2024.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
I can't
it's a
wait.
big site as well. That's why we might be seeing the removal of some of these fan favorite shows in order to make room for something like this. Hey, Universal, it's a small footprint right now. You gotta utilize what you got, and sometimes that means other things gotta go. Trust me, I know
Yeah.
this story well. I'm still very bitter about the loss of Back to the Future, but that's just me.
Oh yeah. I feel like you can never get on The Simpsons now because of that.
Yes, yes, yes. It's look, I like The Simpsons, I do, but I mean, man, do I miss Back to the Future.
Willy Wonka World. I didn't say, oh, that's Warner Brothers, but there's a Warner Brothers property in there. Uh, that'd be kind of cool. Uh,
I
what
mean,
you-
yeah, I it's if Universal can license out with another studio, which they seem to do regularly and quite nicely. I mean, yeah, you already got Harry Potter in there. Why not Willy Wonka? Wonka's coming out in 2023. We'll see.
Does anyone know what's going in place The Simpsons when it leaves? A lot of things could, but I'm sure a lot of people, at least I know a lot of people, especially Sean, man, he always looks at it and wags his finger. He's like, I hate that, right? So I know he'll be happy when The Simpsons does leave, especially Dr. Dre there, because it took over his beloved Back to the Future.
Ah, great Scott! Oh
You'll be able
man.
to get time entries on the app. Yeah, so you'll be able to get time entries on the app. The kiosks are for the people who don't want to use the app, or maybe don't have a smartphone if they're older. Who knows?
Uh,
They have that, and or the people who want to come later on.
I would stand in line at a kiosk and use the app. I would,
Yeah, or that too.
yeah. Uh, the app is going to be faster than the kiosk. Just let everybody know. I'm thinking back to the Fast Pass days when there was,
Yeah.
Max Pass, Fast Pass. Trust me,
Hmm.
you want to. The app is always going to be faster, but it might not be able to handle as much demand as it will receive. So you might want to
Yeah.
stay in the area of kiosks just in case.
And I was able to Simpsons saying that Disney take it. Yes, Disney. Well, Disney. When you say Disney take it, you mean just takes it because I don't think they'll put it in their park. But I know it does very well on Disney Plus. I've
Yes,
been watching
very
Disney
well for the platform,
Plus.
and it still does, according to the new numbers that came out here. I believe Wizard that their contract for The Simpsons comes up within this decade here, between 2020 and 2030.
Yeah,
Probably something happening there in terms
yeah,
of like, yeah.
yeah. Definitely should be going away by 2028, maybe 2024. Who knows? Again, you can see that Fast and Furious concept art, something that should be labeled as Duff Beer isn't labeled as Duff Beer, so who
Mm,
knows? But and that's gonna start construction soon.
hmm
What you call it? Do you know what Universal Hollywood's capacity is? I don't, but from when I worked there, and I on the busiest days, some of the busiest days, they said how many people are going to be there. You're right, Albert. They did give me a number. They did say a number of 30,000 plus for the
Yeah,
day. So
yeah.
that would be my guess.
Yeah, I was without even reading Albert's post here. I was thinking like 30, 40,000. It looks like looks like that's about right, right?
Yeah. So that's another good question, actually. Do
Sure.
you think when and then at least the first weekend or
Mm-hmm.
days do you think first will actually like reach capacity? Like they'll have to shut the
Mm-hmm.
gate when Nintendo opens,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
in the first couple months there.
Yes. Yes. I think they will do that. I think because I mean we're seeing insane capacity and Super Nintendo World isn't even part of Universal right now. I mean during the holidays it was a madhouse. It was real crazy. I mean wall to wall, kind of like you're walking like this, right? That is
Waddle,
dangerous.
waddle.
Right. So, this is honestly one of those times when I would, be very interested in maybe seeing a reservation system for park entry come back just for a couple of weeks here, just to handle that demand. But, without that, the only way to do it, you're gonna have to close off the gates to people coming in on that day. So, keep that in mind, guys. You might want to be there early in order
Oh,
to not get locked out.
and do you think, because I've been
Mm.
looking for the at the park hours, do you think, because they didn't release them for February, that
Hmm.
and we might sneak past the 10 p.m. closing time, maybe 11, 10:30?
I Wizard, I would love that. I would love extended hours at Universal. I mean, I think is one of the biggest things in terms of my determining factor of whether I go down there or not. It's like, oh man, it's a lot of work, a lot of hassle on
Now plus
the
the on-site
five.
hotel.
Right, right. It's like, to do that only for a couple of hours of time when the park is open. Man, that is a deterrent when it's not open until those later hours. Listen, the real decision making isn't with Universal. It's actually with their neighbors.
The
So if they can
neighbor.
maybe arrange something in which they can stay open, maybe with reduced operations at later hours and so forth,
Because think about it, with
maybe.
the neighbors don't seem to mind horror nights. That gets a little longer each year.
Hmm.
Uh, or even I feel like even if they can't do later hours, hopefully Universal will at least instead of maybe closing at 6 or 7,
Yeah,
close at more 10 p.m. closings.
I
And,
think that's well within the purview here. I
yeah,
think that is a genuine possibility.
because I know obviously they close at 6 because if you go there on like a normal January day, you can get on
Yeah,
everything in like 2 hours because no one's there. Obviously, still has an off season, so
and
yeah, I
it's
get the 6 p.m. closing, but with Nintendo, it's so much demand. I feel like there'll be definitely more 9 to 10 p.m. closings per
I
day.
think so. I think you're right about that. Any later than that, though, it's up to the neighbors. And honestly, it is delightful to be in the park at night. It is really, really
It really
cool.
is. Just like Disney, Universal looks great at night.
Mm,
Wizarding World looks
fantastic.
gorgeous at night. Like
That
my goodness.
view over that cliff face there, whew,
Oh
man.
yes, the Valley. Oh,
Oh,
great
my goodness. It's great.
man.
It's fantastic.
If it was actually family theme, I hope it'll mean the end of me too, and you might get your wish there. Oh, with the end of a supercharge, because I don't think think anyone really goes away. So you will get your wish. Fast and Furious 24. Oh, I thought that was a joke on the number of movies they're gonna make, like 24 movies. Might get
2024.
it. Because look, they're already on 10. They're almost halfway there. So
Yeah. Yeah, and there have been comments made by some cast members saying we'll do this until we until the wheels fall off. And
90 years old. Oh,
yeah.
yes, we're going into space. Oh my goodness. If they
Oh
would
man.
start filing permits, if they did, Universal likes to hide their permits, so you have to find them in about 3 seconds, or else to be gone. And said dream expansion would be get rid of the golf course. Oh, that golf course! I know that would be great. That poor golf course. It's a big golf course, and I believe it's a privately owned golf course, and
It
they
is.
know they don't want to sell it. But that'd be a nice thing. 2028 Olympic year, and
Yeah,
Olympic
and the Olympic year, that's very important there because that I
and
think that's where Universal's kind of targeting for all the opening of a lot of things, not just theme park related, but also the hotels and so forth.
hmm
2028 year is very important.
Yeah, 2028. Yeah, thank LA for getting the Olympics because boy oh boy, we could potentially have a Fast and Furious roller coaster, Donkey Kong Born, Springfield rethemed Diagon Alley,
Oh yes.
Hogwarts Express, new Steel Tour entrance, a new illumination attraction, all done for 2028. And yes, I was reading off that one of my sources sent right to me yesterday about that. So that's great. Um,
Yes.
the new
And
illumination that took over the Parisian courtyard. area, that France area that looks dilapidated.
Oh, the illumination attraction you were saying, taking over the
Yeah,
front square.
the new
Okay,
illumination attraction that would be
I
there's
see.
so far it's either Bad Guys or Sing or some other property, but
Right.
those are the very early concepts.
I'll say
Uh,
this. I did not know this before, but I'm sure people are familiar with the Paradise Pier Hotel. That's the illustrious third hotel of the Disneyland Resort property, right? Well,
Paradise Pixar Hotel.
yeah. Pixar Pier. I don't know. But that building was actually constructed for the time that LA originally hosted the Olympics back in the 1980s, right? That's what that was built for. So, the Olympics come to LA. It's a big thing, and it can impact your parks, and it can impact tourism, and it can impact infrastructure in ways you might have not thought. So, it's a big deal.
And goodness, in another video, I'll have to come on your channel or you come here and talk about what Disney could be planning for the Olympic, if anything. Uh,
Hmm.
because that'll be very interesting. They got only 5 years to do it, something about it if they want to. But
5 years to do it. Can't we? Can we get a new Tomorrowland in 5 years? Wizard, come on, pray with me.
well, let's start off with at least the Avengers attraction. That'll
Yeah, yeah. Well,
be a
that
win.
that I would imagine that is part of that 5 year plan. But with Disney, you never know.
Oh, on on-site hotel. Oh yes, that list I just did was just for attractions, but the on-site hotel, I think was marked for a 2026 opening date, so we'll be looking for that to start next year. Um, Also, I like the name Silver Cheddar. It makes me hungry. An on-site hotel, that'll be amazing. I just did, but I'll do it again. Fast and Furious roller coaster, Donkey Kong, Bourne, Springfield Retheme, Diagon Alley, Hogwarts Express, together, like opening at the same time. Studio tour entrance, illumination attraction, and of course the hotel. I'm sure a lot of city walk stuff. Somehow. Uh, I wonder what the sound will be like. Oh, it'll sound like the Nintendo, the boom, 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 boom
Yep, yep,
thing,
yep. It will.
and then it'll feel like you're going right to a video game, and they'll be like, "Wow, this is incredible. This is why I paid $185,000 to come here because that was great."
To be immersed in all things Nintendo, absolutely. No, they will use genuine sounds for sure.
um, Yeah, parking lot by the Globe Theater. Oh yes, the World Cup is coming in 2026.
That's a big
You know,
deal.
lots of another great stuff. Yeah, well, a whole world will be watching and coming to SoFi Stadium to see Messi play, and, and that'll be
Wait,
great.
are they going to do it at SoFi?
Yeah, it's one of the games, SoFi Stadium,
Oh,
right
wow, that's
here,
interesting. Wow. Huh. Oh,
2026.
okay.
Everyone's gonna come to Universe. Oh, and see if the hotel opens in 2026. Everyone can watch
Oh,
the World Cup game, then come to
oh,
Universal and
oh,
play.
oh, oh,
Woo!
oh. There you
Which
go.
would be
There
good.
you
And then go
go.
to Disney if they can get in with their reservation system. Is that in
Hope, hope,
2026?
hopefully you can get a reservation during that time. It's
And I am back. Wow. Oh, Universal has died. They should go with the green screen lake is and Hogwarts. Well, that would connect the two. Just like it does in Oracle. I was $100 on a Super Nintendo World merch, and Land has. Well, that's good. Universal says you're very favorable. Well, you're
yes, yes.
a favorable person.
They
Well,
enjoy
you're
your patronage,
you're
Silver Shutter.
you're helping the Donkey Kong thing get built even faster.
That,
What can you
that
say?
that is very true. That's very true.
I mean, the amount
Um,
of popcorn light up things I see and hats and this and that. It overtakes the. I see more than of that than actual like Universal Studios like merchandise. Hilarious. I see actually more of that than wands and robes now. It's very
wow.
like everywhere, and the line for that new snack shop continues to go all the way down to Panda Express each day.
Did you see that? There's a report out there suggesting that the Harry Potter, I think it wasn't just merch; it was the books and everything like that. Oh, I think it's like world like Harry Potter merchandising market cap actually fell by 40%. The demand for
Oh
it. So
wow, that's
yeah, in
very well.
2022, that's not great. But that's why we're hearing rumors. I think that these
But they
the core films, the Harry Potter 1 through 8, might actually be rebooted and reshot with new actors. It might be one
No,
of the
let me
motivating
tell you
factors there.
something. I really quickly, I don't like that.
You don't like it?
I only because I feel like it's not gonna be as great as the first one, the first eight. Like I don't know, every time they try something like that, like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be like a new like. Are they gonna add new elements to the story? Is it get? Oh gosh, are they gonna make Harry Potter like black or something? And then
Hermione,
like,
I think, might be black.
no, come on, see that's not real.
I,
That's a
I,
new, you gotta make
I'm
a new black character. Like
I look, I listen. Okay, this is a very, this is a very controversial thing for sure. Um, look,
is
I
why
had the same
that's
reaction as you.
why that fails. It's gonna fail. You can't change
I look.
it.
Well, and that's the difficulty, Wizard. I mean, look, you can kill a franchise if you reboot this improperly. If these films come out and they just tank at the box office. If you do something that actually irritates the large majority of fandom, which to an extent J.K. Rowling has done. I mean, this can be handled very properly in that it renews interest into the Harry Potter fandom for a new generation, or it can end up very badly in which you can actually kill a franchise. So this is a very kind of, I think, a controversial thing that they're doing right now.
You know,
And I had the same reaction that you did, Wizard, but there are some Harry Potter fans who are actually looking forward to this, so we'll see.
the same Harry Potter fans that want Princess the Frog to go into Splash Mountain.
Yeah. Uh, yes, there. I think there is some overlap there, Wizard, and I will say no more.
Because I think a reboot done very well is the Jurassic World. It took Jurassic Park, made Jurassic World like a theme park. It was cool. I liked it. I really like Jurassic World movies. If you do Harry Potter, you can make a brand new character black, like a brand new one. That could be the addition to like Aladdin. How with the live action they like added elements to the story. I liked that.
Right.
I love Aladdin. Why
Yeah.
don't you just add these new characters? Because I
Well,
know and I love. First, look, I'm black. I love black. I love all people.
right.
I or they can make it instead of a group of three, they can make a group of four and add diversity in there. Just don't
Right.
change like the main people.
Yeah. I mean,
That black person, they could be gay or whatever they want to be, but
well,
just put them in
it
there
is
as an
kind of
addition.
it is kind of what is it? It takes it takes place in like I want to say 1920s Britain or something. The core films do something like that, or it takes place in
Hmm.
at a bygone era, let's say, right? And part of the world that I don't know, maybe didn't maybe didn't previously incorporate that much diversity, right? So I can kind of understand what how the core films were going and so forth, and why maybe diversity was lacking a little bit. But I think you're right there, Wizard. My take would have been to have like a series, a show based
Oh, that
around
would be great.
new wizard and witches, right, as they go through Hogwarts themselves. I think that would be fantastic. But
That would be
apparently, Warner
so
Brothers has
cool.
off. Right, and I think that'd be great. You could use the original sets and so forth as like a
Maybe you can even
template, but
explore like each house like in depth, like
right.
maybe like 4 seasons for each house and different people inside, like
Oh,
and maybe in the same timeline, same presence or Harry and whoever's there. Then maybe
Right.
put a new then he can make like a cameo or like not be a main person. He expressed the other because those tables were long in the Great Hall. There's so many Gryffindors and so many of all different shapes and colors and people. You can explore
Correct.
them, and then maybe one of them is friends with Harry, and he's make a cameo in a couple episodes with a new actor. I feel like that would be great. Uh, that would be great. That'd be very.
I do agree, but they seem to be really dead set on having a theatrical presence and doing it with the original films and so forth, the original characters. I just think it's very, very risky. I just think that if it's handled badly, like I said, you could really do some damage here, long-term damage to this franchise, which I mean has a theme park presence, has a merchandising presence. There is interest in it now. You could really kill it going forward. So we will see on that. I think a lot of people want us to get back to the theme park talk, though, so we will.
Yeah.
E-Ram's talking about frumpy merch at
Okay, well, this
the
is where
domestic.
my Nintendo knowledge goes very downhill. I don't know what Frumpy is, so let me look him up. Do you know who Frumpy is?
No, I think he's saying it looks outdated, large, uneven proportions, and really tacky
Oh,
looking merch. Uh, as compared to the Japanese merch. That is an interesting point. Look, listen, if I know
oh,
anything about Japan, I know they have the better merch game when it comes to the domestic parks.
oh, definitely so. And even here in the land, like for example, our land won't debut with Toad as a
Hmm.
character due to a budget cut or something. Um, which kind of sucks. But
Mm.
it's okay. Toad will eventually be there. But I think even the food I've seen people mention at least on the forums there that the some of the themed food from Japan won't quite make it over to our land. We'll have themed food, but not as I think like mushroom popcorn is something that they have over there that a lot of people, or at least it seems some people want over here, but we won't get initially. Or and some other type of popcorn.
Hmm.
So I know Japan is always very creative with their food and merch game. And shout out to the cosplayers over there. They are people dress up, whether Disney parks or Universal parks or anything. They are go all out. So good. I always see OGs. She shares all those cosplayers. They do a great job. But yeah, I know Japan has a lot of
Their
cooler stuff that we never get.
their sense of it seems like their sense of style and their sense of I don't know, interactivity, tangibility with their merch is a little bit different than our domestic park goers and so forth. So there's different marketing, there's different either marketing decisions or decisions when it comes to design development and so forth that are made for the domestic market. I do agree with you, though. It seems like we're getting the short end of the stick with that when it comes to our Japanese counterparts in the theme park game. So definitely got to step it up, and that goes for Disney as well. Girl Power
Yeah.
says, "Oh, go ahead."
Oh, I'd say yes, Green Gods. Donkey Kong. Outdated, really uneven portions of Mario thing. I honestly don't know. Is uneven portions of Mario thing? Is that in the games a lot?
Um,
I don't know.
I don't. Well, I mean, maybe. But, I mean, and that might have been one of the reasons why they went with certain merchandising decisions in order to make it more game accurate. That could be it, but um, I don't know. Apparently, the Japanese merch differs a little bit, so we'll see. We might be getting their stuff eventually. There might be some crossover. It just depends, and on how successful this all is, and apparently it is going to be very successful. So we'll see.
What should we call it? Oh, awesome! Get there early, Topaz.
Yes.
Uh, Fast Furious. It is.
Yes.
Is that as it looks like a? Oh my gosh, what is it? It looks like a. Jesus. I think one of those other. If you scroll down up, to one of the other pieces of concept art, I think you can get a close look at that inversion. Dr. Dre over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I
It seems
don't
to
know
be
if
a
it's on
zero.
that level,
It seems to be
but
a zero G roll. I don't think it's long enough to be considered a zero G stall. Sorry, my roller coaster parlance is a little bit lacking. I do apologize, but it is going to be made, from what I understand, by Intamin, right? And I think they've already announced that they have a drifting coaster type ride vehicle and setup that they debuted at IAPA recently. So
Mhm.
I think this, I think we're all kind of this is coming for sure, and there will be a mix of elements for sure. Yeah, like Pantheon. Yeah, it will take inspiration, I think, from Pantheon to a large degree.
Oh yeah, Pantheon. Daisy will be there. Well, Wizard. What? My hubby got got
Oh,
got me the
yeah,
rainbow. Oh, wow! Happy birthday! And did he? Was it the interactive one? Because if so, then your hubby is a good guy or woman. Can hubby be girl or boy? I don't know. I think it's guy, right?
well,
Hubby.
usually it's
Your partner.
yeah.
Yeah.
These days, Wizard. I don't know, but I'm assume your partner. Yes, your partner. Uh,
If they had
great
an interactive
person.
one, they're awesome. And
There
again,
you
happy
go.
birthday. I heard the Toad won't be able to. Hey, yeah, he won't initially. So sad. But you get to eat his food and see him on the screen in his restaurant. Especially with intimate, listen to all the items, and they said have multiple intimate in the works. Wow, yeah, that'd be cool to see where the other ones go. I hope he gives
Yes.
something unique. Do do not that, but I love it. Oh, it's
Okay,
not
so
interactive.
not the interactive, but hey,
It's okay. You still have a wand.
Sapphire still loves it, so we're good.
You have a cool wand. You can put it up on your. Do they give you? Oh, they didn't give me a wand holder. Can you buy a wand holder? I don't know.
I'm
You can put
sure
it in
you
your
can get
room.
those. I know for like
Um,
Star Wars lightsabers, you can get all kinds of stuff for those sabers. So
um, it would be what you call. It would be unique to us. Wait, let me go back. What did it say?
would it be an
Yes, yes.
exact clone of Diagon Alley?
It would be unique to us. Sorry, I had to go back to my sources little paragraph because we also just talked about that. Wow, you guys are
Right,
bringing up things that we just talked about. Like literally,
but
he texted me yesterday about or 2 days ago. I was like, wow, and now look at it. But yeah, it would be a unique version with our own unique shops with Green Gods and the Hogwarts Express.
oh really? Okay, so Green Gods would be coming, and because it had to
Yeah,
be
with,
modified in order to make use of the land properly.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It'd be a unique layout with our unique shops, Green
Mm-hmm.
Gods, and the Hogwarts Express is what they said. And I think they said, see, did they give me a time? Hold on. Let's see. Or did they just list it? I think they just listed it. Yeah, they didn't give me time. But it will
Uh,
be there by 2028. There you go.
I'll say this, Brandon Munoz. Yeah, if they use the Falls Lake area, I mean, I suppose they can make an exact clone, but I would like them to use the Simpsons area for this, and then maybe save Falls Lake for something else. You know, maybe that third Harry Potter land they're developing for Epic Universe, or maybe any number of the lands they're developing right now for any of their theme park attractions around the world. That could be really cool.
And speaking of Falls Lake, I've heard now from
Two.
two people, that Jupiter's claim will be moved at the end of this year. First, I heard it from one person, then I
Oh.
heard from the second person, and then that Jupiter's claim Falls Lake and Supercharged will be used for something. So I don't know
Oh, okay.
something is. Uh, I've heard. See, I heard two spots for Dark Guy Alley. I heard the Simpson spot, and I've also heard the Falls Lake spot because in the Hogwarts Express we go from up on the hill and down to the Falls Lake area. I don't know. So just know that looks like Jupiter's claim's moving, which I guess it makes sense because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because you know how I think of how the Avengers characters are Avengers campers, and they come from like the movies marketing budget, right? To do those,
Right.
so they're there for limited time. I wonder if
Correct.
like this Nope set was kind of the same thing. It was used from the marketing budget or some type of budget that was there for a
Yeah.
limited time, and that was able to be moved because it was the actual set from the movie. So I feel like they
Right.
can use the production budget or something for that, because it was like the actual movie set.
Yeah, and those kind of deals would happen often. This is, I mean, not just going with Universal, but Disney, like you said, marketing budgets and so forth. That's how Walt did some clever accounting because he didn't, the studio didn't own Disneyland at the time that the park opened and so forth. So he developed his keel boats for David Crockett, and then they would license out that kind of stuff to Disneyland, and that's how you got the keel boats in the actual attraction. And there's some creative accounting that goes with that for sure. I'm guessing, Wizard, you are correct, which is one of the reasons why they're maybe moving the Nope set around. Also, too, I don't think it was quite as successful as they probably intended for it to be. Not just Nope the movie, but also the Nope sets themselves. We can make
Mhm.
way for some great stuff if we get access to that area.
And luckily, it's not too big, so it should be relatively easy just to doop, plop, 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 get out.
There it is.
They do make holders for the wand. You're right.
Hmm.
T Rex T Rex drops down too early. Well, you know what? I'll pass that along. I haven't been on Jurassic World in a while. They just came out of refurbishment, so I hope it's not dropping too early. um,
Hmm.
Original.
Yeah.
But do you think that Super will be better? No, I don't think that. I know it won't because they had it's theirs is bigger. But if you think Super Nintendo Japan is then better, I mean Hollywood's better than Japan. That is Hollywood will love you. But then
Yeah.
don't say that because then they'll encourage them to not build more stuff.
We are hearing that there will be differences in terms of like the tiering of the land, right? That it won't be so.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Different
in order
tiers
to.
and even a different game or two for that you know
Oh, okay.
they still got two more brides. Um, Obviously, and we're going studio. Yeah, that's the good thing about the studio tour. It's not a fixed
Filling you.
attraction, so it's
Yep.
easy to see around. Just a big tram, so that's very easy.
And they
It can move around 100 different times if it has to.
and they've done it multiple times in its life cycle, so it wouldn't
Mhm.
be out of the ordinary for Universal by any stretch.
What you call it? Have a good night, Sapphire.
Hmm.
I wonder if they know how they live in Hollywood. I wonder if they know how they live in Hollywood. That's pretty drip, drip, drip. I I think that means I wonder if Intamin knows that they're building a coaster in Hollywood, and I think they do. Yeah. Question:
I think so.
How they how does that process work? No, like how often? Like you'd have to purchase the coaster, like what a year before. Because I know I'm thinking like because Six Flags parks, those regional parks, they know what they're building a year in it. Like they tease stuff a year in advance. So I'm thinking if they have to purchase their coasters like a year or so in advance, right? Or like to make the deal.
Yeah, yeah, they make the deal probably long in advance. There's probably a developmental contract, right, between them that, okay, hey, we want you to look into developing an attraction like this. So there's probably an exchange of monies there, and then if the contracted
Oh,
company, like Intamin in this case, comes up with the development, comes up with something that Universal can actually make use of. It gets full approval, and that's when the money is shelled out. Mostly then. So yeah, I mean these things they can sometimes take years to develop and account and all of that. But yeah, I'm sure this has been a deal that's been done long before we're actually talking about today.
and last few comments here. Um, this one's particularly interesting because of something I heard today. But I wonder whether power bands will be able to be purchased. They're supposed to be all available today. And it's
Ooh.
coincided with the reservations thing. But I heard from some they were nowhere to be found today, even though they're
Uh-oh.
supposed to be here today,
Mm.
which is interesting because what there's reservations and the power bands, and the power bands are going to be able today because maybe there could have been a certain could have been a certain event happening with the power that you need the power band for that today, but it didn't
Ah.
because it
Maybe.
rained. A rain delay here within the reservation debacle, so it couldn't happen. So the power bands were nowhere to be found, according to this person. If you're at Universal, though, if you saw a power band, let me know, because I wanted to go. If it wasn't raining, I would have got mine today, but I think I might go get mine tomorrow.
Maybe that's part of the maybe that's part of the announcement tomorrow. Maybe hey,
Maybe,
you purchase
maybe,
your power bands here.
yeah. Because gosh, it looks cool. It's like a little. Oh my gosh, a Mario one. Oh, it's a song. It's a song from the Tokyo Drift movie. I guess that makes sense. Um. Okay. Sometime in the next 8 years. Why? Because I don't know. I'm sure Universal doesn't want to pay Disney any more money than they have to.
No,
Um.
no, no. I would think by 2030 at least we'll have
Yeah,
something.
definitely. Cedar Fair. Sad face. I like Cedar Fair.
I like Cedar Fair. I like Cedar Fair a lot more than Six Flags. That's for sure. Salim Basul. Oh, the saga that never ends.
I know that guy. He's crazy. Should we sing?
Yes, yes, he is.
Should we sing? I heard that's a great movie.
Yeah.
I just got. Wait, you got that today? Like from
Oh,
the Hollywood Park? I
yeah.
got
Did you get
that.
that from
Great,
Hollywood or
great.
did?
Because maybe they decided to put them out after all. Very interesting. In fact, I cannot end the live. Oh, you got it online. Oh, I guess they're on sale online. Okay. Well,
Are they on sale
um,
online? Is it? Can we can we find that?
still, yes,
Let me see if I
go
can
check
look
it
for it
out.
here.
It's sad to see if our and don't like each other anymore. Oh,
Universal
well, hopefully Cedar Fair and
Nintendo.
Instant make amends. Maybe at IAPA they made amends. Who knows? Because look, Six Flags and B&M they weren't doing so hot. Now look, they have a B&M coaster coming. Oh, you got it online from Japan? Oh, that's cool.
Worth
Yeah, yeah, he got it
22.
online in
I see.
Japan.
I see.
Well, that's
Okay.
awesome. I hope the shipping wasn't like $80 million, but that is awesome.
Looks like we're still looking
And,
for the infamous power bands.
oh goodness, I'm definitely gonna check tomorrow. I don't want to Zimp. Hey, you know what? Zamparla is a good company, but wait. From a YouTube, SoCal Pals. So they were doing a survey
Yeah.
about Waterworld. Love
Yeah.
SoCal.
Yeah.
Shout out to SoCal Pals. Those are good friends of mine. And one of them actually works at City One. Um,
That
but
there's some rumors around this, right, Wizard?
yeah, they did some. They're doing some surveys about good old Waterworld, and
I, I'll tell you
well,
this,
I
Sean.
like
If you like Waterworld, you might want to see it soon.
yeah.
That's all.
Let's go
That's
and
about the
watch.
best advice.
You know, you gotta watch Waterworld because
Have to.
Waterworld, man, Waterworld.
Oh,
Um,
it's one of my favorites, and I, I want there to be at least one big kind of almost theatrical or stage production in Universal. You know, just at least one to kind of. I mean, we don't have the Wild West show anymore. We don't have, a lot of the things that used to be that used to show off Universal's kind of entertainment prowess, right? Waterworld is one of those last vestiges of that time. I'd like to see one of those remain, but c'est la vie, with these kind of themed lands that have kind of taken over the industry, and obviously Universal has really specialized in over the last few years. Some things have to go when that happens, so we'll see.
Man, yeah, we'll have to see. All right, everyone. Thank you for the comments. You're very active today. Look, we had 21 people at one point. Wow, we
Ooh, man,
and
nice.
Mr. Vashkai, thank you for joining on this last minute invitation.
Yeah, there were quite a bit of theme park. What do you want to say? SoCal theme park screw ups today. Some of it as a result of the storm. Maybe this was part of it too. Whether it be Universal with their reservation period for annual pass holders, or Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland closing early because of these cyclone
Oh,
storms or
Disneyland
whatever.
closed
So,
earlier?
yes, apparently that's what I had heard today.
Wow. I also
Yeah.
know Knott's usually closes in the storms, and it's funny. Knott's closed entirely today, and Six Flags closed early, and then usually Six Flags just immediately closes the whole time, and Knott's closes early. But yeah, wow! I can't. Disney usually never closes early.
Disneyland
This is
closing
very
early as heavy rain closes Knott's Berry Farm during bomb cyclone storm. Okay, Six Flags Magic Mountain opened its schedule on Thursday, January 5th, a day after closing due to inclement weather. So, a heavy rainstorm fueled by a bomb cyclone weather phenomenon has forced Knott's Berry Farm to close its gates and Disneyland to close early a day after Six Flags Magic Mountain threw in the towel due to relentless bad weather. So, yeah, I mean, this is from the press telegram. You guys go ahead and read that if you're so
insane.
interested. But yeah, I
Wow.
mean, apparently these things
Universal
they
stayed
get.
open the whole time. Interesting. Yeah, it usually never does that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Uh,
Universal is usually the one that's really heavily affected. I remember way back in the day. This is when I was like a little kid, when going to Universal when it was all rained out and they, had various rooms open so the guests could kind of get out of the weather temporarily, get some free coffee and hot chocolate. That was pretty cool there. Had little meet and greets going on. It was awesome. But apparently, well, I mean, it may not have closed early, Wizard, but it had its own share of problems today.
yeah, wow. Crazy. Well, yeah, stay safe out there. Another big rainstorm's coming Monday. So drive safe. If you're in California.
Absolutely.
And whatchamacallit. Yeah, please find OG Bash guy on OG55
Yes.
with his new co-host, Mr. J. Share. Is it Sharer?
I think it's
Sure.
Sheer?
Shearer?
Sheer?
J. Shearer.
I'm going to have to talk to Jay about this.
And like and subscribe to them because they have quite a good panel on it. They don't just talk about Disney popcorn buckets. They talk about Disney news,
Oh,
like
yes.
outside the park. So
Oh, yes.
find the real stuff over on on their channel, and subscribe
Hmm.
to this one for more Nintendo and Power Band and the construction of Fast and Furious next week. Universal's pretty quick on this stuff. So next week we should see some construction walls up and some flags and some demolition for the two shows. And I'll try to go live on Saturday for my final performance show. I just like animals. So stay tuned for all that. And as always, have a fantastic day. You're right.
And
It
there's
would